Welcome to episode number 279 of the Marine Layer podcast. It's a mailbag episode, so we'll open it up and answer your guys' best listener questions. We'll also give you guys our takeaways from the Mariners' sweep against the White Sox.
Your guys' reminder, make sure you're staying on top of all of our stuff. If you want to do that, you can do so at our website where you can find everything, you guys. That's marinelayerpod.com, between episodes, merch, Patreon, live show schedule. And by the way, quick little shout out for those of you listening here on Friday morning or Friday afternoon. If you're going to be at the game on Friday, we're going to be doing some fan interviews and some mini mic interviews like the type we'll often do at the park. But we're going to be outside the hall in Occidental doing them, and we're going to have a bunch of stuff to give away as well. So if you're going to be at the park and you're going to be walking down Occidental, come stop by. We'll be there from about 6 to 6:40. We'll be there about 30 to 45 minutes. We'd love to get you on the mic. We would love to have you stop by. So if you're going to stop by, make sure to come see us, and we'd love to interview you. We're going to have some fun questions prepared. So wanted to make sure we get that out to you guys. But yeah, as usual, all our stuff's over at marinelayerpod.com. You can find all our episodes there, audio, video, and then you can check us out on social media at marinelayerpod.
Let's get it rolling.
The pitch from Acevedo. A drive feet to right field. Down the line. The Mariners win this game 2-1. The dream lives. They're going to the playoffs. 1-1 from Jansen. There you go. Left field. We got a tie ball game. Julio. Oh, baby, what a moment. Tie ball game at 7-7.
And we welcome you to this episode of the Marine Layer podcast, part of the Just Baseball Podcast Network, recording on Thursday evening, August 7th. Lyle, I love Josh Naylor. He has become one of my favorite baseball players of all time, and it took less than 2 weeks.
Dude, he's the man. He is awesome. They should re-sign him right now, to be honest.
Extension, 4 years, right now.
Now, I'm sure he won't do that, but they should do it.
Ask yourself this, listener, if the Mariners walked up to Josh Naylor and gave him $5 for $100 million right now, would you be happy?
Does that not feel a little high?
I'm sorry, Lyle, for the most fundamental baseball player on this Mariners team, I think not. Here's a text I wrote Lyle today while I'm watching this man steal bases, hit dingers, go on the record and say he doesn't watch iPads. He sits on the bench and he watches games. He pays attention to tendencies. He picks up on all of these little details around the diamond to make himself the best possible baseball player, all while not having a smile on his face. And I think, wow, that sounds like the most fundamental baseball player I've ever heard of in my life in baseball, that they admit. In fact, Lyle, I think Josh Naylor is what everyone thinks Ben Williamson is. No slight at Ben Williamson, by the way. But when people talk about the fundamentals of Ben Williamson, I mean, that's actually what Josh Naylor is, I think.
I'll buy that. I mean, Josh Naylor, again, he hits for power, he steals bases, he draws walks, he doesn't strike out, he's got a good approach. He's old school, but old school in a good way, where his game still translates and transitions to the new era of baseball while having that old school mindset and kind of old school mentality.
Dude, he did something this week that hadn't been done since Billy Hamilton. Billy Hamilton might be one of the 10 fastest players in baseball history, and Josh Naylor matched one of his stolen base records this week. This week. Billy Hamilton, I think his sprint speed, if I'm going to guesstimate off the top of my head, because Billy Hamilton was right at, his peak was right around when StatCast was starting up. I don't think they quite had sprint speed yet. I'm going to guess Billy Hamilton was around 31 feet per second, which is elite. Josh Naylor is in the third percentile of sprint speed. I think there's only 14 players who are slower than him.
So I'm glad you brought that up. He is in the third percentile of sprint speed. And in terms of the guys that are behind him, I'm just going to read a few. I'm going to do a little exercise here for you. I want you to look at the camera and try to get me to read through these names without you breaking character and without you laughing. So, again, Josh Naylor ranks 517th out of 530 guys in baseball in sprint speed. He is not fast, yet somehow he steals 20 bases this year. And again, just broke a record that was last set by Billy Hamilton. Let me read you some names of guys behind Naylor. Tristan Casas is on there. That's one. I'll just read you the whole list. Austin Wynns, Jose Trevino, Gio Urshela, Victor Caratini, Johnny Pareda. Here come the fun ones. Alejandro Kirk. Oh, and you broke character. That didn't take long.
I'm trying. Keep going. There's a better one on here.
Giancarlo Stanton. Which, if you watch that double play that Giancarlo made a totally feeble attempt to run out the other night, and you say that guy's barely slower than a guy with 20 stolen bases.
Feeble? Dude, I don't think Giancarlo Stanton can physically run anymore.
Well, so by definition, it was a feeble attempt.
Yeah. Giancarlo Stanton is slow. Josh Naylor's not that much faster than he is.
Which is funny that one of them's built like straight granite and one of them's, like a below 6 foot,
Girthy. Girthy is the right word, Lyle.
First baseman, like kind of stocky. Maybe that's the right word. Stocky first baseman. All right, final couple names to keep going. Jose Miranda, Jacob Stallings. Let me save the best one for last. Martin Maldonado's last. Sam Huff of the Giants is second to last. Third to last is, can you guess?
Third to last. Daniel Vogelbach.
No, but you're on the right path. There's a certain reason.
Rowdy Tellez.
It is Rowdy fucking Tellez. Yes. Those are the guys slower in baseball than Josh Naylor. And Josh Naylor has 20 stolen bases this year.
That's incredible. Who are some guys in front of Josh Naylor? Do you have that in front of you?
Yeah, like very slightly ahead of him.
Yeah.
Oh, this list is kind of funny. Gary Sanchez, Salvador Perez, Reese Hoskins, Sean Murphy, Josh Bell, Ty France. I mean, that is a fun list.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, let me say two things about Naylor. Number one, in terms
Riley
of
Tellez, by the way, 1 stolen base with the Mariners.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Josh Naylor, number one, I mean, if the Mariners gave him a 5-year deal for $100 million, it's not my money. If you keep Josh Naylor, you keep Josh Naylor. I'll say great. I feel like 4 for $75 could probably get it done. Give him the years. It's roughly 17, 18 million AAV. Christian Walker got 3 for $60. And to be fair, Walker is older than Naylor. It's just he also had a really, really good couple of years before his walk year. And he got 20 mil a year. I don't know. I feel like 75 over 4 years is about right. Just under 19 mil a year. I feel like that would get it done.
I would think so. That's, that's right below the top rung of first baseman, what they're paid.
Yeah. I think the Mariners could get that done. It'll probably have to be in the offseason, but they could get it done. Anyway, the other part of Josh Naylor is, well, let's hope he's okay. On Thursday, he hurt his other shoulder swinging. So he had some shoulder issues back when he was in Arizona. It's the other shoulder now, as Daniel Kramer reported. But the good news is it's only sore. It sounds like it's day-to-day. I don't love the fact he's got 2 sore shoulders, but I am glad they avoided, for now, a worst-case scenario.
Well, thankfully, he doesn't have to play the White Sox anymore, so he doesn't have to swing as hard. This dude has a vendetta against the White Sox. Outside of watching the Mariners win all of these games during the week, the next most fun thing for me was listening to Len Casper on White Sox radio call the Josh Naylor home runs. It sounds like they were pretty much done with watching Josh Naylor. Josh Naylor, longtime Cleveland Guardian, destroyed the White Sox. Gets traded to the Diamondbacks, destroys the White Sox. Gets traded to the Mariners, destroys the White Sox. Again, like that home run he hit on Wednesday was laughable. First pitch, first inning, and he fucking obliterates the ball. And like, he didn't crack a smile, of course, but everyone else just couldn't help but laugh. And then the day before, Lyle, he does his little double bat flip, where he flips the bat head over into his hand, flips it once, and then smacks the butt of it with his hand on the way up to flip it in the other direction as he does his slow trot around the base paths. I do feel like he's trolling the White Sox at this point.
He really is fascinating. Can I put something out there for people? Since I know we're in the trust tree here with all of our just absolutely awesome listeners, that I'm going to put this out there and feel okay talking about it. I'm a little afraid to talk to Josh Naylor. We haven't talked to him yet. I'm sure at some point we will, and we want to. I'm a little afraid. This guy scares me a little bit. Like he's so intense that I almost partly wonder if like anything we say is just going to get you a death stare.
Because we're trying to think of ideas that would be kind of funny and that can tie back to him. And we're also thinking it's like, what if he doesn't think it's funny? And then he gives you the Josh Naylor stare at you on the camera. You know, that might have to be a social clip in and of itself. Where it's like,
so in other words,
you ask the question, bounces to him, and he just stares at you. And the camera goes back, forth, back and forth, back and forth.
We can add some sound effects. Boop, 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 boop. Honestly, one way or another, it might turn into content. Just because if he's great, then it's great. And if he gives you the total Josh Naylor death stare, then that might be entertaining for people too, just to have us get dunked on and say, this is what you get when you ask him stupid questions and he doesn't want anything to do with you guys, et cetera, et cetera.
Here's a stat that's relevant to this weekend, Lyle. Ichiro never stole more than 10 bases in an 11-game span. Josh Naylor has 10 stolen bases in an 11-game span.
Unreal.
That is pretty unreal.
As we start to wrap up this Josh Naylor thing, can I just play the clip for everybody?
Oh, yes.
I'll wrap up with this because while we're on the topic of Josh Naylor absolutely obliterating the White Sox, there is nothing, even as great as that bat flip was the other night with the Mariners, nothing will top what he did when he was in Cleveland facing the White Sox. Well, first off, his numbers against the White Sox are a joke. He's hitting 360 for his career against them, and his OPS is way over 1,000. He crushes that team. But a couple years ago, I believe it was 2022, the Guardians were playing in Chicago. They were down 4 runs in the 9th inning. Josh Naylor hit a grand slam to tie it up. Then in extra innings, Naylor hits a go-ahead home run in his next at-bat to give him the lead. The Guardians end up winning the game. This guy, I mean, I'll just play the audio for people. I'm sure some of you have heard it already, but it never gets old. The video makes it even better. Maybe I'll try to turn my phone for anybody watching on YouTube, but yeah, here. So
that crashing sound at the end, by the way, was him picking his helmet off his head and proceeding to throw it full speed at the back wall of the dugout.
I mean,
is psychotic. I've never seen someone so fired up to hit a regular season home run. I mean, he lost his mind. You see his eye. If you look at the video, like see his eyes and the intensity that is just flowing out in that moment. For him to like have so much energy that he's screaming his eyes out and still has the energy to take his helmet and almost hurt himself for how hard he threw it.
He's blacked out on adrenaline and also seeing red all at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm
surprised nobody got hurt with him doing that.
You know what? If he hits a home run like that in the playoffs for the Mariners, I want to see every bit of that from Josh Naylor. This is what I mean. Like he's so fun. I don't know how he's going to be if we actually try and talk to him, but like to actually watch him. And you know what? I shouldn't say that. Maybe he'll be awesome. We have no idea because we haven't talked to him yet. And just like seeing him from afar, it's a little terrifying. But like the on-field energy that he plays with and and just like everything that he brings to the table, dude, the Mariners have needed somebody like this for so long, and now they have it. I thought forever this was going to be Jared Kelenic, that not only was he going to be an MVP candidate every year as he was coming up through the minors, but I thought he was going to piss people off and scream in people's faces and just have all this emotion. Like, I love the idea of that, and obviously Kelenic had the emotional part of it, but the on-field play didn't pan out. Naylor, with the way he plays, dude, if he has all that emotion like that all the time, sign me all the way up.
It's a good ingredient to have on this team. That really is. Especially just compare and contrast him and Gino when they came over. Gino is the good vibes, mellow. Like, we're never going to see any of that from Gino. He can be the dad of the group, while Josh Naylor is the psychotic older brother.
Yes.
It's great.
It's great.
The series, Lyle. I think we saw a lot of the same things we saw this series with the White Sox as we did over the weekend against the Rangers. So I don't want to go in and rehash everyone. For the second series in a row, this lineup is jokingly deep. I mean, I could not believe the depth of this lineup, especially on Tuesday, watching them just go out there and mash and mash. It just keeps going and going and going. It was so much fun to watch. The starting pitching was really good. These are the two things we're going to have to see for them to go out there and have to win baseball games. So overwhelmingly, I want people to have a positive takeaway from what you saw against the White Sox. Yeah, it was the White Sox. They kind of stink. They don't have a lot of good players on their team at all. So yeah, you should take care of business against them. And that's exactly what the Mariners did. They took care of the opportunities they were supposed to. There were also a couple other things that we can spend a tiny little bit of time on in an overwhelmingly positive episode that we saw in the series against the White Sox. What would you like to discuss first?
I would like to say, just like you just described, the Mariners swept the White Sox, and the White Sox are a really bad team. The Mariners needed to take care of business, and they did. They won all 3 games, and when you're here in August, you need every win you can get, and the Mariners did that. So you're right. This episode should be almost nothing but overwhelmingly positive, and talking about how the Mariners are a game and a half back of Houston. When you look at the wild card standings, they're sitting in the second wild card spot. I mean, they're in a really, really good position right now, which is great. And they're 6-1 post-trade deadline. This team is playing really well, and the moves are paying off. You should feel really good about where the Mariners are right now. But if we're going to spend 2 minutes nitpicking a couple things, then I promise we'll be done. All right, let's just start with the bullpen. I'll say this, and I'm going to keep going back to using this example because I think it needs to be remembered. The 2019 Nationals and the 2023 Rangers were both bottom 5 bullpens in baseball. Just remember that. Those two teams won the World Series that year. Each of them. Bottom 5 bullpens in baseball. Can the Seattle Mariners bullpen, that is objectively much better than those two bullpens ever were, still have eons of success if they get into October, in spite of what the bullpens look like at times? Yeah, for sure. Because if you get hot and you just have to ride your leverage guys for the most part, you'll be fine. If you are concerned about the bullpen, you are also plenty warranted to be concerned about the bullpen, because a couple of the games this series, you saw a couple of those potential weaknesses on display.
If you watch the first 2 games, that is how they're going to outdo their bullpen. You know what the 2023 Rangers did? They mashed. Unbelievably good offense. They put games so far out of hand that it did not matter that their bullpen was a dumpster fire at times, where they could just simply outscore their opponent. Wednesday, I think, was the best example of that. The Mariners are pounding the White Sox pitching staff, but the bullpen was as leaky as it's been in pretty much any game all season. The White Sox managed to crawl all the way back. Thankfully, the Mariners were able to hold on and win a game. That might be how you have to do it. That's why you trade for all this lineup depth, so you can consistently have guys coming up and driving in runs and take that pressure off your bullpen, so even if they do give up runs, it ends up working out this way. I will just say, though, just watching this series of these bullpen arms facing an objectively bad lineup in the Chicago White Sox, it was not pretty. It wasn't pretty for the low-leverage guys. It wasn't pretty for the mid-leverage guys. And it wasn't even pretty for the high-leverage guys in Munoz and Matt Brash. Neither of them had a great series as well. I think the only guy, Lyle, with a clean slate this entire series was Gabe Spire, if I have that right. Otherwise, pick your poison, whoever it is for the Mariners bullpen, wasn't great against a really not good lineup at all. So that's where, it just reinforces the fact you watch this bullpen and you say, it's not overwhelmingly good enough to make up, to take that jump that you need them to do at this moment and be a good bullpen, which stinks because I want that to happen. But the more you watch it, it kind of is what it is at this point. And, I need to say my line, Lyle. This lineup and this starting rotation now are way too good for the bullpen to be the downfall. I hope we get to that point. The lineup and rotation are too good for this bullpen to let the team down and them just not be able to achieve what they want to.
And
the manager, Lyle, and the manager's decisions, which on Thursday I'm struggling. They won the game. That doesn't mean the decisions were good. I can't get over the Cole Young decision in the 9th inning.
Dude, I don't know what on earth we were watching on Thursday. Like, post Logan Gilbert's outing, I don't know what on earth we were watching. I am glad they won, but again, I don't know what else to say. I have no clue what just unfolded in front of our eyes here on Thursday afternoon. The Cole Young one, like, again, so here's, I promise people, give us like 60 to 90 more seconds. We'll be done. Cole Young in the last month has a 900 OPS. 900. He's striking out about 10% of the time. Why on earth is he dropping down a bunt to give way to two guys that swing and miss a ton? In Gino, who we love, but swings and misses a ton, and then Garver.
Not even the worst part of that. They pulled him off the bench and burned their current first baseman to have him bunt. If the goal was to get someone out on purpose, why don't you just leave Donovan Solano in? Otherwise, why is he on the roster?
I don't know.
That, like, I don't understand that. And then right after, you have to pull Cole Young out of the game to put a different guy who can play first base in there, and Dylan Moore, who, by the way, is not a first baseman. So it just doesn't make any sense. And then Dylan Moore, at the end of the game, has to be taking big at-bats, and he didn't come through, and he struck out, and his stats continue to go into a nosedive. That inning, Lyle, ended up when you had Cole Young sacrifice bunt, where it essentially ended up that instead of having Cole Young bunt hit with runners on first and second with nobody out, to Mitch Garver at the plate with bases loaded and 2 outs. Like, what would you rather have?
Yeah, I'd rather let Cole Young hit.
Thank you. That's why, if you just put it that simply, it really doesn't make that much sense to me.
I want to try and see something, because Cole Young was facing a lefty in that at bat. So I don't know if their argument is going to be that he is much better against righties than lefties, but I'm curious what he's done in the last month against lefties. I'm pulling it up on my phone because sometimes Fangraphs on the computer is a pain. Cole Young in the last month, when he's been red hot against lefties, 150 WRC plus. So I'm not buying that argument.
Yeah. Doesn't make much sense. Again, they won the game, but the decision itself, I don't understand it.
And then the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning should have been nothing but Spire, then Brash, then Munoz. I don't know why Vargas went back out there. I don't know what the decision behind that was, but then he gave up a homer. So,
yeah. And that's why they're in extra innings.
Yeah. Dude, Vargas, I don't know, man. He throws way too hard with stuff that moves too much to be striking out 6 batters per 9. That doesn't make any sense in the world.
It matters a lot where you throw it.
I know. Yeah. But that's why it's like, it can often be maddening to watch, because he throws so hard, and the idea was,
and the stuff moves a lot.
Right. But then he doesn't strike people out. He gives up walks. His ERA plus is, well, I'm assuming after this outing today, it's going to drop below league average because it was at 101. I don't know, man. Look, if you've got concerns about the bullpen, it's fair. You can still win in spite of a struggling bullpen. But if you've got concerns about the bullpen, it's fair.
This first mailbag question, I will say, Lyle, pertains to this idea, but before we get into the mailbag.
Yeah, before we get to that, look, you guys, ultimately the Mariners won the series. They swept. They are 6-1 post-trade deadline. Everybody's fired up about them right now. We are too. So if you want a place to go watch these guys, which of course you do because they are as fun as they've been all season, well, go watch them over at Pagacha's Pub 85. You guys know they're our great friends over in Kirkland. They've got an awesome spot to watch games and have some great food. And if you want to watch the games while you're playing around a pool with your buddies, you can. It's a really fun neighborhood bar to go hang out at. And if you go during happy hour, there's awesome drinks. So if you want $3 and $4 drinks during happy hour from 2 to 6 p.m., maybe you want to show up, get a drink or two, hang out and watch the Mariners and get some friends together and just have a fun evening out, night out. head over there. Head over to Pagach's Pub 85 over in Kirkland. Yeah, go check it out.
Let's get into the mailbag, Lyle, and let's start off with Tanner on Patreon. A reminder to all you guys, if you want to have your mailbag questions read here on the podcast, there's a chance if you leave us a YouTube comment or an Instagram DM that we'll read your questions on here. But if you want to make sure that you get your question answered, go sign up for our Patreon, patreon.com/MarineLayerPod. That gets you priority question asking for all our mailbag episodes. So like Tanner and like a lot of other questions on this mailbag, you can get your questions answered right here on the pod. That's patreon.com/MarineLayerPod. You also get ad-free episodes and access to monthly calls with Lyle and I. So if this isn't enough baseball talk for you, you have like roughly an hour of us all to yourself if you want every month. Patreon.com/MarineLayerPod. Go check it out. It's a fun place to be. First question from Tanner asks, do playoffs historically favor good pitching or good hitting?
It's not one size fits all, but usually pitching. Usually really good, I feel like.
You would think. Here, let me read you this, though, because I was thinking about this, too. I went and looked at the last 10 World Series winners and what their strength was as a baseball team. 2024 LA Dodgers, their strength, offense. And by the way, I went and looked at their regular season stats. Not how they won games in the playoffs, at what they were good at in the regular season over a larger sample of games. Dodgers last year, offense. 2023 Texas Rangers, offense. 2022 Astros, pitching. Their pitching staff was fucking unreal. So good. 2021 Braves, pretty balanced team. 2020 Dodgers. Well, they were the number one offense and the number one pitching staff. So yeah, I would say they're balanced. That usually works out well. 2019 Nationals, offense. 2018 Red Sox, offense. 2017 Astros, offense. And then 2016 Cubs and 2015 Royals were both. If they were close enough, if they were within like 2 ranks, if runs scored in ERA, I would say it's both. That's how I quantified that.
The Nationals pitched their asses off in 2019. Strasburg, Scherzer, Corbin, that team had some damn good pitching and then had a lot of clutch hitting late.
They did, but overall they had a top 6 offense in the entire league, maybe higher that year. Their pitching staff was closer to middle of the pack over the course of the entire season. But this is also where the playoffs are different, where the Nationals can go to a rotation of 3 to 4 guys and a bullpen of 3 to 4 guys to get the job done and let their offense do its thing. The offense was the better unit on that team that year.
But this is more about the postseason specifically. And thinking about what those teams did in the postseason, like Nationals really pitched in 19, Astros in 22. We know they really pitched. I mean, Dodgers pitched. You can make an argument for either. I just feel like you always hear about how important really good pitching is in the postseason. And we see a lot of good teams win the World Series off really good starting pitching.
And that, I mean, that's a fair point. But if you just think about it from a strategic perspective, yes, great pitching almost always beats good hitting. But if you have a lineup like the Mariners 1 through 9, and a pitching staff has to go through that lineup 3 to 4 times, are they making it through without allowing 4 runs? A lineup of 9 guys that can all hit.
Yeah, and that is the other side to this, is often you will see starters in the postseason last a lot shorter than they normally would, and sometimes have a shorter leash for that very reason.
Pitchers, I know everyone's tired at the end of the season, but the pitchers feel it more than the hitters do, I'll tell you that. Because they're the ones who got to throw the ball.
Yeah. All right, so our conclusion is you can argue for both sides. I'm going to say pitching, you're going to say hitting?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, for the Mariners' sake this year, it may need to be their hitting.
I would think so. I mean, it won't be the bullpen, I'll say that. That is what I will solidly stamp down on.
Also, this is something we should probably all start to keep track of. The Mariners could really use that second seed and find a way to get a bye.
Oh,
because if you're going to rely on your offense, then playing in a fluky best of 3 wild card series is not always a favorable matchup. Because the Mariners from August 1st till the end of the year may have a top 7 offense in that stretch. But you go cold for 2 games in the wild card series in what's, again, a really fluky series where anybody can win. That's that if you just go cold for 2 games. So I think we should all be paying very close attention to those top 2 seeds. I know everybody's talking about the West and how far they are back at Houston. If the Mariners win the West and they're the 3 seed, like, who cares? I mean, look, it would be fun to have playoff games at home, but I think the more important thing is you need that bye.
I think the difference of that series is literally just venue. For the most part.
Yeah, it's just the Mariners would get those games at home. And again, that would be fun, and to have more playoff games at home and for fans to get to see them at home, and hopefully they'd score a run this time because, the only other playoff game they've seen in 25 years did not feature a scored run. But, yeah, I think that bye is important. So,
this next question's for you, Lyle. Josh on Patreon asks, how much would be too much to pay for Kyle Tucker?
There's no such thing. That was the easiest question I've ever answered. Not my money. Do whatever it takes to get him here.
$766 million for one Kyle Tucker, putting him as the highest paid player ever in baseball history over Juan Soto.
Juan Soto's a glorified DH. Kyle Tucker actually plays the field.
People are saying you're not wrong.
Yep. Again, it ain't my money. If you want to know what I actually think he's going to get, I mean, he could push close to $500 million. I wouldn't be shocked to see him get a, I don't know, $450 million deal, something like that. You know what? Pay it up. Go get him. Why not? TJ's pointing his finger right at the camera.
Why not?
I mean, Kyle Tucker is going to be 29, I believe, as he hits free agency. Right now, he's 28. So next year will be his age 29 season. That's a lot longer. That's a lot younger than you get a lot of free agents for. If you were to give him 8 years and close to 450, yeah, great. There's no reason Kyle Tucker at 36, 37 still shouldn't be somewhat of a productive offensive player. Yeah. Yep, I'm all in. Yeah. Walks a lot, doesn't strike out. You need a right fielder. I know Victor Robles is there, guys, and I know Dom's been good, but you know what? You will find roles for those guys if one Kyle Daniel Tucker ends up on this team.
I'll say he looks really good on a billboard next to Cal Raleigh. He would look really, really good.
Now think about this lineup, dog. Randy, K-Tuck, Cal, Julio. I'm going to play the game and just pretend they actually somehow sign Tucker, bring back Naylor, and bring back Gino just for the fun of this. Because it's an exercise. So, yeah. Randy, K-Tuck, Cal, Julio. I'll say Naylor, then Gino, just to split up the righty-lefty. So that's your top 6. You could have Polo 7 DHing. And then you would have Cole hitting 9th, playing second base. And what's the one position I'm forgetting?
Shortstop.
Oh, right. And then JP. And by the end of the year, next year, maybe it's Colt Emerson. I'm down.
Back-to-back World Series champs lineup, that sounds like.
I'm down. Yep.
All right.
Do you want to give people one little reminder about something we're doing tomorrow before the next mailbag question?
Yes. If you're going to the game tomorrow, guys, the Friday game of the Rays-Mariners series, Ichiro weekend, and you need something to do before the game, Lyle and I are going to be out in front of the hall at Occidental doing some fan interviews and giving away some fun prizes. We have some trivia questions we want you guys to answer. So if you want to come hang out with us a little bit before the game tomorrow, it'll be starting roughly at 6 o'clock, and we'll go up to about first pitch. 30 to 40 minutes we'll be out there in front of the hall on Occidental. We'll have prizes to give away. Come with your trivia hats. Come say hi. Win some fun things, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be such a festive atmosphere at the ballpark this weekend. Lyle and I are both looking forward to it a lot. So we'll be flagging people down out there on Occidental, but if you want to come find us yourself, we're not going to say no to that. So 6 o'clock, guys, out in front of the hall on Occidental. We'll see you there. We should have a sign-up of our own. You will be able to see us. Trust me. Yeah. We'll have a banner up. Again, you walk by the hall on Occidental, you'll see us. I know I mentioned it at the start of the show, but I just wanted to give people one more reminder. So, yeah. We're going to be very hard to miss if you're walking down Occidental tomorrow. Or today, actually. So, just note that. Next question comes from Isaac on Patreon, and Isaac's question is, looking to the offseason, that the Mariners extend Naylor and Gino, but traded Castillo for an underwhelming package, and that's all they did, how would you feel about the offseason?
I'd say it depends on what they do to end this year. Do they go on a pretty decent playoff run? You know, do they get to the ALCS and then that's their offseason? Yeah, I mean, I would say it's a solid offseason because you're bringing back a team that was ALCS bound. But if they miss the playoffs and do that, I'd say they probably need a little more. I would hope one way or another they upgrade that bullpen this offseason.
Or if they lose in the wild card series and the bullpen's like a clear issue and that's all they did, you would know there's something missing. Now, if Gino and Naylor left, you would say, okay, yeah, also almost a third of our lineup is missing. You need to sign those guys. But, yeah, if they make the CS, then I think it's clearly you're good enough, right? Unless it's just some total fluke that everyone can see. You're clearly good enough at that point, and this is what everyone wanted, so now you need to just keep the team together and try it again. I think people would be fine with it. That's what I'd say. I think they'd be fine. I don't think you might get some critical reactions to it, but I think for the most part people will be fine, mostly because their expectations were set incredibly low the offseason before.
What, they didn't have a good offseason? I thought they did.
No, they did not.
Oh, I must have been asleep for that. Sorry. Yeah, I don't think I did. Did we ever mention that on here? No.
I think so. Unless it was one of your post-show naps, and you missed it.
No, we mentioned it on here very, very many times. But yeah, I think it'd be fine. I think the bullpen's got to be addressed in the offseason. And look, what could the Mariners do until then? Is there a chance they could bring up a couple minor league arms in the final couple months? Yeah, it's possible. I wouldn't bank on it, but if you want to look to some names, I guess the one that would stick out the most is probably Charlie Bylinson, who's down in Double-A, who was drafted in the 5th round last year out of Duke, and he's been pretty good. So maybe him, maybe a couple of those other Double-A arms like Jason Ruffcorn if you need another name, or there's one other. I'm going to blank on it. But yeah, like guys like that. I don't know why I'm blanking on the other name. Hang on. There's one other name besides from Bylinson and Ruffcorn who like has a chance to essentially be brought up.
As far as we know from prospect rankings and evaluations, though, there's not immediate bullpen help just sitting waiting in the farm system right now.
No.
Someone that you go into next year and you're like, all right, well, we have guys that we can stock this farm system with. The Mariners, I'm sure, have a much better idea than Lyle and I sitting here and blabbering into our microphones, but it's not... Hunter Cranton would have been the guy. So Hunter Cranton was older. He'd closed in college. The stuff was plus in a one-inning spurt, and you would think, okay, he just needs to throw some minor league innings, and then you could throw him in the bullpen. Well, now he's gone. He's in Arizona. Brandon Garcia was the other guy. Now he's in Arizona. So once you trade those guys away, it kind of just cuts out from your depth.
Jimmy Kingsbury, that's who I was thinking of. Yeah. I was going to say, it's somebody who's been in the system for a bit and has had some decent success. But yeah, Bylinson, Kingsbury, Ruffcorn, I guess those would be the three I'd look at. But I don't know if that's really going to happen or not. I'm just trying to pick potential options of guys they could yank up. We had a couple people ask about Troy Taylor, too, and what's going on with him. I guess I'll just address it here for a minute very quickly. He's really had a tough go of it this year. Like, even down in AAA, the issue with him is he's just given up so many walks. I don't know how much that lat injury in spring training has had an effect on his season. I don't know. But I don't think you're going to see Troy Taylor back this year, and it's because he's got some stuff to clean up. I hope he figures it out for next year. There's no reason that next year he couldn't figure it out and be back. But, yeah, it's been a struggle.
Next question here comes from Matt, and Matt's question is, will John Stanton speak in front of the fans on August 9th? That is Saturday, by the way, when Ichiro's number is getting retired.
Yeah. Oh, boy. How do we want to go about this one?
Well, yes or no, will he?
The fact I'm not giving an immediate answer shows where we're at on this.
I have an answer to this question.
All right, let's throw it out there. What do you think?
I'll make my prediction here. I'm going to think, based off of the sentiment, I think that's a good way to put it, the vibe of how the past year plus has gone, that I don't think he will. He'll be out there on the field, maybe seated in a chair. But no, I don't think so.
So let's provide context here. Sure. Usually, he speaks at these things. He spoke at Felix's ceremony a couple years ago. Whatever the last one was, I believe he also spoke. I know he spoke at Felix's. Usually, he talks at these things and gives a speech, which is why this is very, very interesting. So, I will say this for people. If he doesn't speak, and you are a fan out there that may be looking for some level of validation, if he doesn't talk at this ceremony, that kind of signals that the outcry from all these fans clearly has been received and people's voices have been loud enough. Because if he doesn't speak at this, that means the Mariners don't want to trot him out there in front of 50,000 fans with the potential of, like, you know, a lot of boo birds raining down.
I'll also say the vibe, I think, has changed a little bit. The deadline definitely helps.
But that's a Jerry and Justin thing. Yes, the vibe's changed.
It is a Jerry and Justin thing, but they do represent the entire organization of that, right? Even if it doesn't change everything that people were pissed about, it still is real that Gino is a Mariner and that Josh Naylor is a Mariner. That part doesn't change. It also helps that Kevin Martinez is now a president of the team and not just the vice president role he was in before. I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world that one of the presidents of the team steps up and speaks when Ichiro gets his stuff retired. That's who I think, if they were going to make a speech, and Kevin Martinez is a Mariners lifer, has been around this org forever, goes up there and talks instead. I don't think it's the craziest idea in the world.
All right, so that may happen. But again, that's not what used to happen. I'm not even saying it's wrong. Like, Kevin's given some pretty good speeches, or like he's a pretty good public speaker when he's talked publicly. So, sure, like, that's possible. But if you're a fan watching this thing on Saturday and you see Kevin go speak, that probably means, unless they both talk, if only Kevin Martinez,
that is possible.
Yeah, so
I think that's possible.
They could both give a speech, but if it's only Kevin Martinez that gives one, that means that's the Stanton replacement. That means that, again, if you happen to be a fan looking for validation, that means the Mariners didn't want to trot him out there in front of 50,000 fans.
I will say, if John Stanton speaks on Saturday, he is going to get booed. It's not even a hot take. He is going to get booed. Like you think it's going to be 50,000 just raining down, or do you think it'll be like scattered? Or I feel like from where it's at now, like, there might have been a few scattered a couple years ago when he spoke at Felix's thing, but clearly it, like, you know, it didn't like make that many waves. But like this time, again, a lot has been fixed. The trade deadline helped. I'm not saying it didn't. I feel like this time, if he goes out there is a chance it could kind of rain down. I think 60 to 70% throttle instead of 100. If they were out of a playoff spot and didn't do anything at the deadline, then it would be 100. But they are well into a playoff spot, a game and out of the division. Gino's back on the team. That brings it down about 40%. That's probably fair. But I guess there will still be some. I guess we'll see. Yeah, we will see. I'm fascinated. I am too. Because again, like, is it a real storyline that most people are going to talk about? No, but because we got the mailbag question here, yeah, I mean either he talks and we'll see what the reaction is, and like you said, I think there's a pretty decent chance people are gonna, you know, let themselves be heard if he goes out there on Saturday, or he doesn't speak, and then maybe fans sit there and say to themselves, well, I guess people heard us. Yeah. So I would say one way or another, like, if you are a fan of that branch and looking to that narrative, like, you're probably going to get your validation one way or another. We'll see. Yeah. Saturday's coming. Oh, it's coming. I'll be interested. Next mailbag question comes from Graham, all the way from Australia. Thank you, Graham, for the Patreon mailbag question. He also notes, Lyle, he watched us on Washington Sports Wrap this past Tuesday, so shout out to Graham. Thank you, Graham. His question is, with Canzone playing so well lately, how's the Mariners lineup going to shake out when both Rayleigh and Victor Robles come back?
I guess Graham will have to respond to us, but I guess he got Washington Sports Wrap all the way in Australia. I guess if he was watching online, he could do that. So it makes sense.
I think he might have watched the recording of it.
That could be. That would make sense. Well, Shout out to Graham either way. All the way from Australia. That's sick. And we met Graham just a couple weeks ago, who was awesome, by the way. So shout out to Graham. I would say, look, the Mariners have started to get away from some platoons a bit, but the way Canzone's hit against righties, when Robles comes back, I don't know how in the world you could possibly take Dom Canzone out of the lineup on a regular basis. If you were just going to make him a bench bat, I don't know how anybody could sign up for that, whether you're on the coaching staff, in the front office, like everything you've watched from Dom says he's got to be in there more regularly. Even what he's done against lefties. What he's done against lefties hasn't been phenomenal, but his actual just batting average against lefties is in the 260s right now. So he's not hitting with authority against southpaws, but he is getting more hits. And then against righties, he's OPSing just about 900. I would think when Robles comes back, they would find a way to platoon those guys. And on the days Dom starts against righties, maybe you bring Robles off the bench late to run and play defense.
I'm not saying it's the right decision, but I think that they're going to play Robles more when he comes back. That's just all the language, all the wording they've been using when they talk about Victor Robles and how much they're looking forward to having him back. It just screams, we want Vic back in the leadoff spot. That's what it tells me.
Well, no offense. I think he has to earn that. Why are you taking Randy out of the leadoff spot the day Victor Robles is back?
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying what they're telling us. What would I do? I would do what you do. I would platoon them. And I would hit Vic. He'd probably have to hit seventh. But that's a good thing. It's perfectly fine to have a lineup of that length. And if you get Vic back to what he was last year, hitting in your seventh spot, I mean, oh my God. Like, that's great.
Yeah. It's just
I do feel like they're going to play Robles a little bit more. It does definitely help Victor Robles' case that they already paid him.
Yeah, but it's so small. You cut Leody Taveras for basically the same money.
Still?
I would just, look, Victor Robles is a fan favorite for every good reason, and he's got so much energy, and everybody's rooting for him to thrive. If you're just going off the numbers, though, to go Robles versus Canzone, well, one, Victor Robles in I know it was only 44 bats. He wasn't really hitting before he went on the IL, and a lot can change. It's such a small sample. But Victor Robles had his great year last year in 77 games with the Mariners. So, he didn't have that much more of a stretch of success than Canzone's having at the plate right now. I'm having a hard time understanding why Robles would get such favoritism and Canzone would just be relegated when Robles comes back. I think you have to work both these guys in.
They're all going to be on the roster. No one's getting cut, though. I don't think anyone's getting sent down, especially when the rosters expand in September. You'll have an extra bench spot, to which I think the bench will be. So let's say Robles is starting on this day. The bench would be Canzone for switching with Robles' spot. Rayleigh is your backup outfielder and center fielder, most importantly. I think Ben is up in September again. He'll be on the bench as your backup infielder. I think Mastro is going to be your backup. He's going to be your utility guy, and then Garver is going to be on the bench as well. That's 5. You have four bench spots now. With a 26-man roster, when you get 28, it's going to go to 5.
Doesn't it go back to 26 in the playoffs, though?
Yep. Not guaranteeing anyone a playoff roster spot.
So you would assume...
I mean, Jesse Winker didn't get a playoff roster spot.
It would probably, if your logic is right, and that's what they do, I would guess Williamson's probably the one that is off the roster when the playoffs come around. And then if somebody were to get injured, he's the first guy on.
Maybe. I can't guarantee that, though. I can't. Because then you'd have 2 left-handed hitting outfielders on your bench instead.
I know, but when you need to hit in the playoffs, I know you need a lot of things in the playoffs, but you already have guys on your team that can run. To leave Canzone or Rayleigh off that playoff roster would look like complete malpractice.
It would. It would, yeah.
So I think it would have to be Ben, and you got to let Mastro just be the utility guy in that scenario.
Also, thank you for bringing this topic up. I forgot to mention something at the top of this episode. I don't know if people noticed what the lineup looked at the end of the day today on Thursday. The Mariners emptying their bench is not a good thing when your lineup is this good. You can see how much worse the lineup is when the Mariners empty their bench into their lineup. Don't do it again, please.
Dude.
We don't have to do this for the name of versatility and matchups. You have good players in your lineup now. Screw the matchups. You have your matchups. You have good player in the box. That's the point.
Dylan Moore is at a 261 OPS since May 28th. I mean, you feel for the guy at this point, right? Like, I mean, it's at a point where it's just like, I mean, it's untenable.
Yeah.
He's hitting, we don't really use batting average on here, but he's hitting 034 in that stretch.
Can't do it. So
No.
There's things about having a good bench. The Mariners bench shouldn't be used for anything besides defense at this point. That was a big takeaway from today, because it was tough seeing who's hitting for who and how much worse your lineup gets. Speaking of Demo, Lau, I'm glad you brought him up because Eric is asking about Demo. If and when Dylan Moore gets released, do you think he deserves a send-off? If so, what would be fitting in your opinion?
Send-off? I don't know about that. I think... Because think about it, Mitch Haniger didn't really get some send-off, and he had more impact on the org long-term than Dylan Moore did. So I know Demo's right now the longest tenured Mariner. I think the Mariners would make him a nice tribute video, and, you know, they'd make a couple social media posts for him. But I think that would probably be the extent of it.
Yeah, he's going to get a thank you post on Instagram.
They might even make like a little video tribute for him like they did for Haniger. But that's probably the extent.
They're not retiring his number.
No, they won't be doing that.
No.
And I don't think he's doing the whole 09 Griffey thing where he gets put on everybody's shoulders and gets paraded around the field. You remember that?
Yes.
I don't think that's happening. But
No, I don't think so either. And then Griffey decided to come back the next year and, well, left the team in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Let's get to our next mailbag question, Lyle. This comes from Xander. Long-term with Bryce, fixing long-term Bryce coming back, assuming he's healthy. Do we think Logan Evans will be out of the bullpen in a Brash-style conversion project? So you have Miller in the rotation and Logan Evans in the bullpen. Do you believe that?
Long-term, no. If you're talking about for the playoffs, yeah, that's possible. I don't think... So you can't just turn him into a reliever. Like, snap your fingers and say, well, now you're just going to go pitch out of the bullpen. It's not that easy. If you remember with Matt Brash, when the Mariners actually turned him into a reliever, he had to go down to Tacoma for about half the season. He didn't get back up as a full reliever until roughly after the All-Star break, second half of the year, and then he was really good. But if you're going to put Logan Evans in the bullpen for the postseason, which is totally fine, and I'd sign all the way up for that, it's the idea that he's going to throw in a little bit of bulk, just the way Bryce Miller would, where if you put Logan in, he's going to give you 2-3 innings out of relief, and that's how you use him.
And it's going to help Logan, too, when he's coming up around his innings limit. I mean, I can see it. I mean, we were chatting with Logan in the dugout. He said he's literally down to do whatever to stay on the big league roster and help contribute to this team winning games, which is great. I mean, that's everything you want to hear. He understands it. He knows what it's going to take to do it and win games and contribute, and that's fantastic. And roster-wise, it makes the most sense. If Bryce Miller is doing what he's doing and he's averaging 96 to 97 on his fastball and he's looking like he was last year, yeah, he's getting his rotation spot back. So Logan, for this year, is going to find a way to stay on the roster. I will note, though, they did already try to make Logan Evans a reliever last year.
But that was more like the typical actually convert to a reliever for a season. This is more of the idea of he throwing a little bit of bulk. His actual role doesn't change all that much in the sense of he doesn't have to go max out for 20 pitches. It's still like throw like a starter for a couple innings.
That's fine, but they did also want to see his stuff played up, and they didn't see it play up enough. Well, I guess ultimately we'll see. Because it is the Mariners' decision at this point who they're going to want in the bullpen and who they're not. I will say I would like him to be in the bullpen. I think it would work out for how they need to shuffle the roster, especially given the bullpen's also at the back end or the front end, not great.
Yeah, again, I think you're fixating on the like typical reliever role where, again, if you just tell him go do what you always do, just in a little bit less of a sample where it's 2 to 3 innings, I don't think that much has to change in terms of how he goes about his business. Not that nothing changes, but
it's not just that easy though to just snap your fingers and do that, because instead of having all the time before the game to get ready, you don't really know when you're going in, and we're talking postseason here. You don't know when you're going in. It's like, all right, we need you in 3 minutes, right? It is a totally different thing.
Yeah,
I will say I would like him in there.
Yeah, he might get more time than that. Again, if he's going to throw in bulk, I don't think it's get
not
hot.
In the postseason.
Well, they might have somebody finish an inning, and then you get hot, and then you get loose, and then, I mean, look, it's a lot less time than you get as a starter. But
right.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think he's coming in a pivot role. Let's put it like that.
And we'd see how we would also, I guess we would just see how he adjusts to that, because we haven't seen him in that role in a high-level environment like this.
Yeah. But if you're somebody out there that's worried about what the Mariners bullpen could look like long-term, and you're worried about it for the postseason, again, one of these Mariners starters will be in the bullpen because you can't start all of them in the postseason. So if all of a sudden your bullpen becomes Munoz, Brash, Spire, Ferguson, Bizzardo, you use Bryce and Logan out of the bullpen, and then pick one more. It's between Vargas, Legumina, and Coar. If it was up to me, I'd probably pick Coar. But you pick one of those guys, I don't know. I'd feel a little better about what the bullpen could be.
Right. I'm totally with you. So we'll see.
Yeah.
That I can see it. To answer the question, I can see Logan go into the bullpen. I don't quite think it's Matt Brash, because Logan Evans is going to be starting again next year, and the bullpen will be short-lived at the big league level.
Right.
Final question, Lyle. Right in the same vein, Rusty wants to know, what does the rotation look like if the Mariners make the playoffs?
I know, part of me almost wonders if they go with 3, and they looked like 2 of these starters to put in the bullpen. I don't know. I don't know exactly what they do here. If they go with 4, because what do they do in 22? They only used 3, right? It was Luis, Kirby, and Logan.
They only played 5 total games.
Well, but then, you know what? It's easy to forget. They actually used Robbie Ray in that Blue Jays game, in game 2, when they came all the way back, but that Robbie Ray start in Toronto did not go well. No. So I guess they did use 4, and if that's going to be your strategy, then probably makes it fairly simple that Bryce would likely be the guy that you could put in the bullpen, unless he absolutely wows in his final month back, and then he makes the decision harder. But likely Bryce would go to the bullpen, and if you get to perfectly slot the rotation for however you want it to be, I would guess it would go Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, and then toss up, I guess, Castillo, Kirby, something like that.
I was actually thinking if it's a 7-game series and the third pitcher in the rotation in a 7-game series pitches game 7 and the second pitcher pitches game 6, if I have that rotation right, my math's correct,
yeah.
Then you would go Kirby, Wu, Gilbert, Castillo. The first 3 pitch twice, Castillo pitches once. And then Bryce Miller piggybacks somebody.
I could see that. And then you're saying you're setting up Logan and Wu to pitch games 6 and 7.
Right. And Kirby still gets 2 cracks at it, too.
The only issue there is you've got to get to games 6 and 7. Wouldn't you rather just pitch Wu and Logan at the start of the rotation and have them get as many starts in as they can?
That's the balance. You could do what the Giants did in 2014 where Mad Bum pitched, started game 1. I don't think he almost threw a complete game. Well, game 4 threw a complete game, and then game 7 threw 7 innings out of the bullpen.
Crazy.
Yeah, one of the GOATs.
I'd probably just throw Wu and Logan early, because you got to set the tone, number one. And I'm not saying Kirby and Castillo don't do that, but because Wu and Logan have been your 2 best arms, I would just start them games 1 and 2, circle back to them as soon as you can, and then maybe you're already in a good position.
Yeah, that's a fair point. There's a lot of ways you can slot this, I think.
And you're also playing out the scenario that the Mariners pick how they want to slot the rotation, because there could be a scenario where if they're fighting to just simply get in, they're not going to have a chance to reslot. It's just going to be whoever's due to pitch.
And game 7's usually everyone's available anyway, except for the previous day's starter.
Right.
So if Logan pitched in game 5, he'd probably be available to pitch in Game 7 too.
Yeah. Well, I even mean if you're looking at the wild card series, for example, and the Mariners have to fight to get into the playoffs, period, then you're not going to be able to reslot the rotation. It's just going to be, hey, whoever's turn it is, you're going.
Or if they're battling for that 5th game of the division series, and you have to advance, so everyone, all hands on deck.
Right.
So then you also don't get to pick.
Right. It's true.
So we'll see. It's a good problem to have. Mariners haven't had to talk about this very much ever.
No, because since we started the podcast, they haven't been in the playoffs. We thought when we started this pod shortly after 2022, and we were like, man, what a great time to start. Vibes are at an all-time high. This is as fun as it's ever been to be a Mariners fan. And then the 2 first years we've done the pod, no playoffs.
Thanks a lot, guys.
No. Hey, there's been there's been better vibes this year. Even for as tough as the first 4 months were, there weren't any, 54% or a manager getting fired on social media. There wasn't any of that. It's been better this year so far.
Progress?
It's better so far.
Let's keep that progress going, and how about you make the playoffs?
I'm down. I think everybody listening's down. If you're not, then I got some questions for you. So, yeah, let's hope they make the playoffs. That was a good mailbag. Again, as always, you guys always bring it. You guys send really good questions. If you want priority, go sign up for our Patreon, and you get priority, patreon.com/MarineLayerPod. One more reminder, we'll be out on Occidental Friday night from 6 to about 6:40. Again, about 30 to 45 minutes. We're going to be doing fan interviews. We're going to be giving stuff away. We're going to be doing some trivia. We'd love to have you guys stop by. Again, we'll be right outside the hall on Occidental. We'll have a big sign up. It's not going to be hard to miss, or it would be very hard to miss us. And we'd love to get you on the mic and just see you come by and stop by. So stop by Friday evening, again, on Occidental. We'll be right outside the hall on Occidental doing some interviews. We'd love to have you. All right. That just about wraps up this edition of the Marine Layer Podcast. You guys know the drill. You want to listen to the full form podcast, you can do so wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's audio or video. If you're listening, make sure to download and rate and review 5 stars. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, and please hit subscribe. It really does help the channel if you do. Everything's over at our website, marinelayerpod.com. Go get your merch. TJ's wearing his right now. We'd love to see you wearing your merch around the park. And then you can find us all across social media at Marine Layer Pod. That's TJ. I'm Lyle. As always, we thank you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.